Greetings, everyone. I want to talk with you about the upcoming powerful total solar eclipse that we will all experience on April 8th. This is truly a remarkable event in that it will be a supermoon as well as a total solar eclipse. And I believe it's a part of the accelerating energies that we're experiencing in April as we have this powerful total solar eclipse, followed shortly after by the extraordinary conjunction of Uranus and Jupiter on April 20th. That is an extremely powerful event also, and I'll talk more in depth about that in an upcoming video. But let's talk about this total solar eclipse, which can be viewed in its totality. The path will cut across Mexico and then from the southwest in the United States up through the northeast. It will actually be creating an X with both the total solar eclipse that occurred in August 2017 that crossed the United States and the annular solar eclipse of October 23. So I think that's significant in that I view the solar eclipse as a wake-up call. So it's calling attention to some of what we need to wake up to here in the United States and be attentive to the deeper meaning and messages of these eclipses. But this total solar eclipse is a wake-up call for all of us around the globe. We will be feeling it in its intensity, whether it's visible where you are or not. But let's look at the chart of this powerful event. This eclipse will occur with the sun and moon at 19 degrees of Aries, exactly conjunct Chiron. They will all be at the same degree and the same minute. So this is very powerful in terms of indicating that there's a strong theme of this solar eclipse that is about healing, Chiron. And I'll talk about that more in a minute. But I also want to tell you that the Sabian symbol for 19 degrees of Aries is the image of a young girl feeding birds in winter. Remember these Sabian symbols coming from Dane Rudhyar's work, and I rely on James Burgess's interpretations of that, and I've got the link below. But it is about how every degree of the zodiac has a certain theme, a certain image, a certain energy that gets activated at that degree of the zodiac. So the image of 19 degrees of Aries, a young girl feeding birds in the winter, is about the importance of our honoring our own innocence, opening our hearts in trust, and living from a place of love and compassion, being fearless in the midst of the turbulence and storms and turmoil, and choosing courageously, compassionately to live from the heart, to choose love, not fear. So we're being supported in being in our own healing process, individually and collectively, with this conjunction with Chiron. Remember that Chiron is the centaur, the planetary body that is about the importance of our healing what we need to heal emotionally, whatever issues we are carrying karmically that need healing, in order to step into our true selves and our gifts. It's also, I believe, in this powerful stellium in Aries, calling us all collectively to heal the out of balance paradigms in our world that are coming out of some of the shadow aspects of the age of Aries that need to be healed. I also believe in this strong energy in Aries with this stellium that includes the asteroid Hygeia, Venus, the North Node, the Sun, Moon, Chiron, Eris, Xena, Mercury, that it's also about how individually we are healing our sense of self. Aries, and how then we can be expressing ourselves and our energy and our actions, Aries, from a place of wholeness, a place of balance, an expression of our true authenticity and our gifts. I want to step out of the chart for a minute to just make some comments about the importance of our being in a healing process at this time. I talk about this a lot in that as we're in this accelerated time of transition and transmutation, being called into the new paradigms of the age of Aquarius, being supported in moving into a higher consciousness, in remembering who we truly are and moving into being beings of light on the planet. To move into that higher consciousness, to move into these new paradigms, we have to release what is out of balance from the past and the ways in which we may be blocked or caught in the trauma from the past. We all have some degree of trauma. If we're on the earth plane, we've experienced some pain, some suffering, some trauma. We're somewhere on that spectrum. And as we allow ourselves to face those issues and heal, then we're able to move more fully into our true selves and our gifts and be the unique expression of who we can be on the earth in this time. We're each fractals of cosmic consciousness. In my last video about the lunar eclipse, I was talking about that dynamic in the lunar eclipse guiding us in a healing process, and particularly to heal our sense of self and to heal the wounds from narcissism. And I just want to make some follow-up comments to that, in that I really listen to and take seriously the comments from those of you in the community who are working your process so consciously and really provide a lot of helpful input to the community and feedback to me that really is very important information for all of us. And some of you were concerned about the labels of narcissism or borderline personality disorder. And let me just say, I use those words because it's a part of my training in psychology, but it's not about labels. It's about understanding patterns and, for all of us, healing whatever issues we need to heal from the pain and trauma of the past. One of the things that I find profoundly significant, and Joe Dispenza and others talk about this, that 10% of our behavior, actions, decisions, the ways in which we express ourselves comes from our conscious mind. 90% of how we function comes out of what is in the subconscious or unconscious part of us, the ways in which we have been shaped by our past experiences and get caught in certain patterns or certain ways we're trying to protect ourselves or shield ourselves from pain or deal with the experiences from the past that end up pulling us out of balance. So the more that we can be conscious, the more that we can witness our thoughts and feelings and our behavior, the more we bring what's been in the shadows into the light of consciousness to heal, and then so that we can release those patterns and be more fully, truly in our authentic selves. And then we're able to more fully align our personality self with the soul self and live in alignment with our soul's path and purpose. As we heal those wounds from the past, then we realize we've taken on this personality and these different experiences in this incarnation in order to grow, in order to evolve, in order to deepen in our understanding and in our wisdom and in our capacity to love. So, to speak of narcissism or borderline patterns or trauma is not to pathologize ourselves or blame others, but to deepen our understanding of the roots of our trauma, or especially around the sense of self, in order to heal. And some of you spoke about covert narcissism. I spoke in the last video about grandiose narcissism and closet narcissism. And let me also say that closet narcissism is when we don't have a secure enough sense of self to feel valuable in who we are. So we compulsively get caught up in people pleasing and caretaking in order to feel valuable, to feel lovable in the world. Caretaking coming from a clear place, coming from a secure sense of self and an open heart, is a phenomenal act of compassion and of service and expression of love. So I'm only talking about those ways in which we can get out of balance in our sense of self because of the trauma and pain from the past. And we see covert narcissism as another form of grandiose narcissism, but it doesn't appear with that same grandiosity that we see, particularly in a lot of political leaders in the world. Interestingly enough, I see covert narcissism sometimes manifesting in spiritual teachers or leaders who may also lack that inner secure sense of self, but cloak it in this expression of spiritual wisdom or enlightenment, but then because of their own insecurities and need for idealization and to shore up that sense of self, there can be these covert dynamics of emotional and sometimes sexual abuse or exploitation of their students or followers or people that they're in relationship with, again, because of a lack of strong sense of self. Whatever the nature of our wounds, whether it results in anxiety or protective patterns or personality disorders, they're all about imbalances in our being able to see ourselves clearly, to feel seen and loved and valued within ourselves, and then to experience it in relationship with others. So, this total solar eclipse is supporting us all in healing our sense of self. And those wounds that we may carry may be from early emotional or physical trauma or abuse. It can be from neglect. We can experience trauma later in life in our adult relationships or experiences that lead to trauma and ways that we get out of balance in our sense of self. There is also the trauma of tragic events, people caught in the traumas of the wars in the world. There's so much trauma getting played out right now in so many areas around the globe because of the events and the trauma and tragedy that people are caught in. And there's also cultural trauma where we may be a part of a minority group and experience prejudice, discrimination, not being seen clearly for who we are because of the reactivity and prejudice and or hatred from others. There's also spiritual trauma where we feel that our beliefs or our understanding is not accepted or is devalued, or we experience trauma in the context of a spiritual community. There's a whole spectrum of how we can experience pain and trauma in our lives. And as we can face that, we can heal. Our soul selves never are out of balance. Our soul selves remember who we truly are and carry that consciousness that is within us across lifetimes. Our soul selves remember that we are whole and we are a part of the sea of love and wisdom of cosmic consciousness. And as we remember that and come back into connection with our soul selves, come back into our hearts, then we come back to center and remember who we truly are and can feel the pain from the past and heal and release the trauma and release the out of balanced patterns that we have developed to protect ourselves or to cope or to survive with what we've experienced here on the earth plane. So again, this total solar eclipse is in a powerful way helping us heal our sense of self and heal at the collective level. Let me show you more about the chart. I think it's extraordinary not only that Chiron is so central in this new moon solar eclipse, but all of the other centaurs that are those planetary bodies that are supporting us in our healing journeys are actively engaged in this new moon eclipse. We have Nisus, which is not in aspect to the sun or the moon, but is in a strong conjunction with Saturn and Mars here in Pisces, supporting us in holding ourselves and others with compassion, supporting us in acting from a place of compassion and in healing ancestral trauma, particularly around our experiences of abuse of power or oppression or discrimination. And when Saturn, one of the layers of meaning of Saturn can mean our forms and structures in our culture, in our society, Nisus is guiding us to take responsibility for the ways in which our cultural paradigms and our societal structures have been out of balance, the ancestral wounds that have shaped our own experiences of powerlessness or victimization, or our experiences of abuse of power, and supporting us in allowing those to release with the waters of Pisces, to bring compassion to ourselves, to others who've experienced that abuse of power, in order to be moving in new directions with our actions and how we are forming the systems and structures in our collective global community. It's also powerful that Pholus, that I was talking about in my last video in the lunar eclipse, continues to be actively engaged in this stellium in Capricorn with Ceres, Quaoar, and Ixion. It is also in a square with the sun and moon at the time of this eclipse, and is continuing to square the lunar nodes, calling us to heal. Remember that Bolus is about how do we heal the ancestral trauma. As Melanie Reinhardt says, this is the centaur that speaks about the lid comes off, the consequences of that ancestral trauma may be more visible, may be more on the surface right now. How do we heal that and bring ourselves back into balance, into right relationship with ourselves and each other? And in that it's in this combination with Ceres and Quaoar and Ixion, it's also how are we coming into balance collectively in how we interact with each other and in how we interact with the earth and the resources of the earth. And as I was talking about in the last video, they are in this square not only with the lunar nodes, but with Maki Maki, which is that Kuiper Belt object that is about honoring the earth and her resources, caring about the sacred life around us. And let me also clarify in what I was saying about Maki Maki in that last video. It relates to the Polynesian culture that lived on Easter Island and experienced overpopulation and depletion of their natural resources, leading to the collapse of the culture. Maki Maki is both a warning to us to be in balance with how we are dealing with our Earth's resources and how to be in right relationship with the earth. I think the key issues for us on the planet right now are not overpopulation. And I do not in any way support any agenda that is about depopulating the planet. I think Maki Maki is guiding us to look at the out of balanced paradigms in our world that are still caught in that distortion from the age of Aries that is about power over, competition, conquest, control, that has led to the imbalance of our use of resources, such that some are in suffering and some are in luxury. And it's also about the importance for all of us of being in right relationship with the sacredness of the life around us. But part of, I think, this powerful square is helping us deconstruct the out of balance paradigms in our world that lead both to the exploitation and destruction of our natural resources, but also the misuse of our resources and the suppression of the innovative technologies and ways in which we have the capacity to generate energy, to bring justice and fairness to how we work with our resources and food and supplies around the globe, and provide energy around the globe in ways that are both more sustainable and less destructive to the planet, and are more just and fair for us as a global community. So I think Maki Maki is calling us all into looking at those issues and coming into balance and into right harmony with the earth and each other. The other centaur that's very actively involved in this time of the solar eclipse is Cheroklo, here at 17 degrees of Aquarius, sextiling the sun and moon and Chiron, and also sextiling the north node, trining the south node. Cheroklo is that centaur that is about holding ourselves and each other with compassion, with love, being able to hold space for each other, to support each other in our healing journeys. And in that Cheroklo is in Aquarius, it's about how we can be in healing community with each other, to support each other into truth, into balance, into justice. And again, I am deeply moved by this community and the growing conscious community around the planet that is actively working to step into these new Aquarian paradigms of living from a higher consciousness and coming from compassion, from the heart, to be in right relationship with each other and with all of the life around us. And Cheroklo is supporting us in that process in a powerful way. I think she's also showing us that we can move into new ways of being in collaborative, creative community with each other. We can leave behind the out of balance, destructive paradigms of the past and move into the healing paradigms of the age of Aquarius. And I think it's very significant that the sun and moon and Chiron are also conjunct Arizona, giving us that trust and sense that we can move in radically new directions, Arizona, that are about truth and justice and being in right relationship with each other, trusting being on our own unique creative path, honoring that we each have gifts that only we can bring into the world with our uniqueness, and supporting us in living from our true selves to express those gifts that we can bring into the world. And Arizona is conjunct Mercury in Aries, supporting us in moving in new directions in how we think about ourselves, how we think about the world, how we can develop innovative ideas. This is an incredibly accelerated time of creativity in terms of how we can express ourselves individually and how we can move into co-creating a new world together and open to these innovative ways of being. The fact that Mercury is now retrograde, has been since April 3rd, and will continue to be until it goes stationary April 24th, and then again direct April 26th, is helping us trust our intuition and to be more reflective about ourselves, about how we are expressing who we are in the world, about how we see ourselves and see these paradigms around us in order to move in new directions, in order to heal and awaken and co-create new ways of being together. And all of this is happening at the time that Jupiter and Uranus are now in conjunction with each other. They will go exactly conjunct on April 20th, but from March 20th to May 20th, they will be within a 5-degree orb of each other, calling us into radically new paradigms, new beliefs, new innovative ways of being here and being in relationship with the planet, Taurus. As I said, I'll talk about this more in depth in an upcoming video, but this is powerfully involved in this solar eclipse and is also squaring Chariklo and trining Ceres and in a sextile with Nisus. So very actively engaged at the time of this eclipse. So this is an incredibly powerful eclipse, and I think it is calling us all into healing and awakening and having then the energy, the capacity to move in new creative directions individually and collectively. And again, with the theme, with the Sabian symbol being a young girl feeding birds in winter. It's supporting us in how to drop into that more innocent, open-hearted part of ourselves, to trust that we are held and supported by the energies of the earth and sky and cosmos as we're moving through this turbulent time, this stormy time of change, as we see the turbulence and trauma still playing out on the planet. This eclipse is supporting us in trusting that we are held, we are guided by these profound healing energies and loving energies of the cosmos to move through this transition into new paradigms and new ways of being that allow us to be more in balance within ourselves and with each other. So this solar eclipse is a wake-up call. It is supporting us in this process of healing and transition and transformation. And I believe it will be a powerful event with the earth and moon and sun in this powerful alignment as we're experiencing these intense energies coming from the galactic center, coming from the cosmos. I believe it will activate our pineal glands, support us in opening our consciousness in a more expanded way. If you can go out, barefoot and stand on the earth and attune to the energies of the earth and sky at the time of the maximum period of the solar eclipse. And the longest place where it will be in totality in Mexico, that will be 4 minutes and 28 seconds. It'll be between 3.5 and 4 minutes along the line of totality. But again, wherever we are on the globe, whether we can see the eclipse or not, it is reverberating in us, through us, around us, and activating that expansion of our consciousness, helping clear these blocks and imbalances in our energy fields, helping us heal, helping us move into our true selves and our capacity to move in these creative directions individually and collectively. So I encourage you to gather in community. And if that's not possible, honor your own time of meditation at the time of this eclipse. Attune to these energies of the earth and sky and allow yourself to feel that inflow of healing energy and expansion to support us in coming into our hearts and trusting that we can live from a place of love, not fear, that we can hold that place of centeredness in the midst of the turbulence of this transition time and know that we are held and supported and guided by this global community that's growing, that is about these new paradigms, and by the energies of the earth and sky and cosmos. Now let me show you where these planets and where the eclipse is in the sky on April 8th. While in the chart, we saw that incredible stellium in Aries in the sky at the time of this eclipse, the sun and moon and Mercury will all be here in the stars of Pisces, as well as Venus and Neptune. Saturn, Mars, and Nessus will all be here in the stars of Aquarius, right where the water bearer is pouring the urn of living waters to the earth. And then we will have Uranus and Jupiter here along the ecliptic, close to Aries, and Cetus the whale. And again, I'll talk more about this in an upcoming video, but I think it's particularly profound that so many planets at the time of this total solar eclipse are in the part of the sky known as the waters. And as I've said in earlier videos, where these planets and the sun and the moon are in the sky is showing us the energies that are coming to us from the stars to support us, guide us, and how then they manifest can be seen in the tropical zodiac chart. How do we integrate them in our experience here on the earth plane? So it's profound that all these planets are in the waters of the sky and that stellium is in the stars of Pisces, again, helping us hold ourselves and each other with compassion, with that sensitivity of Pisces, with that remembrance that we are all a part of the oneness of all that is, to remember that we are soul selves having a human experience. Remember that Pisces is the fish swimming along the ecliptic and the other fish swimming into the heavens, tied together in the sacred knot. So it is supporting us in remembering who we are, coming back into that alignment with our soul selves, holding our personality selves and our experiences on this earth plane with compassion so that we can come from the heart and relate to each other with empathy, sensitivity, compassion, and dissolve the trauma from the past to remember that we are held in the love and peace of the cosmos so that we can emanate that love and peace to all around us. As we heal, as we awaken, we do emanate that energy of love, of higher consciousness, of peace. In the turbulence in the world right now, with the suffering in the world right now, there are ways some of us can actively engage in being of service to others. For others of us, it is about how we can do this inner work to be in alignment within ourselves, to be vessels of healing and love and peace on the planet, to emanate that into the collective consciousness. Because this energy of this total eclipse in Pisces is saying, as we dissolve those out of balanced patterns, and as we come into our own alignment with our soul selves and the love and wisdom of the cosmos and emanate that out, then what is out of balance in the collective consciousness will dissolve and heal. And then we can collectively awaken and move into these new paradigms and move into the paradigms of the Aquarian age that are about truth and justice, being in harmony and balance with each other and with the earth, and remembering our true nature and becoming beings of light and higher consciousness, higher frequency. So may we connect with each other as a community at the time of this solar eclipse. And I will be with a group in Egypt again at the time of this eclipse. And we will actually be in the King's Chamber the night before the eclipse. We will be in the King's Chamber 7 to 9 p.m. Egypt time on April 7th in the dark of the moon. And part of what we are trying to do in that Great Pyramid, which I think is such a powerful site that is trying to emanate healing, initiation, awakening for the planet. We will be in ceremony, activating that energy of love and peace and healing for ourselves and for the planet. So please feel free to join with us, that we can begin to seed that in the dark of the moon, and then gather with us as a global community. Let us all support each other at the time of the eclipse to again be in ceremony and connect our hearts with each other around the globe to more fully activate the energies that are coming to us and moving through us, that are supporting us in healing and awakening, expanding our consciousness to co-create this new world together. As we align with these powerful energies, the out of balanced paradigms will dissolve, and we will together heal and come into balance and harmony and be able to move into these new paradigms and co-create a new world together. Blessings and love to all of you, and blessed be.